Alright, good afternoon traders, and today is the 22nd of July and it's just coming up to 3 p.m. here in the UK, and I'll do the usual checks and make sure that the audio is working and the video is working too. So let me just double check that a second, and it seems like the video is working and the audio is working too. So let's just crack straight on then. So we start off here with the legacy markets, the stock market heat map, and you can see that the great majority of it is a bit of a mixed bag, but the great majority of it is in the neutral. There's a few in the green, there's a few in the red, but you know, nothing really significant here that is really, you know, nothing that is really significant. On the cryptocurrency heat map, however, everything is in the green at the moment, which is great. I mean, there's a few exceptions here with XRP and Solana and Atom as well, but just little healthy pullbacks, nothing really extreme. And again, there's nothing really extreme to the green side either. It's just like plus 1% today, but we've had a nice little run for the last sort of week or so. So of course there are a few that are up like sort of like almost in the double digits here, so that's always good to see on the altcoins. And basically we've seen a nice little pump on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and now as we kind of hover at resistance, you can see that some of these altcoins are starting to run as well, and some of them have already done like 50 to 100% retrace basically, which is a really nice bear market rally. So where we are now in terms of volatility for next week. So like I said, and I promised this week that I would be covering this, the FOMC meeting is coming up on Wednesday, July the 27th, okay, just as it comes to the end of the month. And basically here they will announce the next installment of interest rates hikes. So we don't really know if they're going to do 75 basis points or 100 basis points, but I think the market's pretty much priced that in already, as we have seen throughout you know, quite sort of like a relief bounce and quite sort of positive outlook on the markets as a whole. So I think this is going to be a very volatile event, just because you know, if it comes out outside of the expectation, so if they raise it by 100 basis points, I think that is kind of priced in already into the market, or was already priced in 6 weeks ahead into the market. So we see those massive pullbacks in the bear market, the bear markets that we've seen, and the really bad dumps that we've seen. That's kind of already priced in. So anything that is away from that expectation of the 75 basis points means that it will cause volatility to the market. Now, if they come out and say we've done enough, I think we've curbed enough to the inflation, and they come out and say 50 basis points, then of course the markets will rally. If they come out and say 75 basis points, well, that was already priced in, so of course the market will rally. Anything over that 100 basis points, which is perhaps a little bit unexpected, will perhaps cause a little bit of volatility to the downside. I'll show you in the charts in a minute, but you'll be able to see that from the charts, you can see that we've already, on the weekly, we've already kind of like rallied quite a lot. So a pullback would not be unexpected. So we'll just have to see. We're definitely at resistance, so I'll start straight away with a chart. But so just pay attention, especially here on Wednesday, around about 7 o'clock in the evening. They're forecasting 25 basis points here from what it says there. But actually, you know, there's a little bit like, you know, some CME group is saying it's facing an unusual disconnect. There's a little bit of a blackout period between now and then, between now and the Wednesday. And I think that, you know, some people are already predicting 100 basis points just because the inflation was so high. We don't know if that's going to happen or not. Like I said, the expectation is basically priced in. Anything away from the expectation could definitely cause the volatility. So we'll keep a close eye on this, and I will have another TA update for you guys on Monday and on Wednesday, and we'll have a look to see where the markets are at that particular time, and we'll cover this in a little bit more depth. So let's move on straight to the charts, and we start here with the S&P, and looking at the weekly, you can see that we're very, very close as I've been highlighting this for quite some time now. We're very, very close to the value area low of the developing year's VWAP, right? So this is developing year value area low, right? So this is the developing value VWAP here, so the 2022 VWAP, and this is the value area low, which has perfect confluence with this low volume area. So this is resistance, of course, and we are definitely at a resistance. We've definitely tested that here. And the low volume node is slightly above here, which would say here around about 4,050 points, right, which is exactly where that value area low is. And of course, you know, we're expecting to find resistance here in the market to have a little bit of a correction, perhaps all the way back down to 3,900 points. Now, of course, it doesn't have to do that. Nothing is absolute in the markets, and with the current strength, you know, it's possible that we kind of rally straight above it. Now, this is the key, right? So we're looking, especially here at this level here, we're around about 4,100 points is basically what where the cookie crumbles, if you like. Okay, so basically anything above 4,100 points means that we are testing to get back inside of this high volume cluster here. If we do that, if we get accepted inside this value area, then it's quite possible that we go all the way to 4,300 points, where basically where that yearly VWAP is. That would mean a break in market structure, which means taking out, you know, high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and lower low. And that would, going all the way up there, would mean that we would break this market structure and we would print basically a higher high, right? So we've printed a few higher lows for the last few weeks here. So this would be, we've broken the market structure here. So this was the previous low. We've broken that, right? We broke above the value area low of 2021, and essentially going all the way up there would change, would signal a change in market dynamics, in market structure, would break this market structure where we finally printed a new high, right? So of course that's going to be resistance and strong resistance at that. But then I would expect the pullback to be no lower than this level here, around about 4,100 points. So doing something like this, then coming all the way back down here to 4,100 points before continuation higher, okay? And that would be the change in market structure that we would like to see to signal a change in trend, the end of the bear cycle, if you like, okay? Of course, nothing is set in stone, right? We could come all the way up here to 4,100 points and then just roll over, right? And that would still be a lower high. So that's the high, that's another high. This would be yet another lower high. And if that happens, right, if we come all the way to 4,100 points, come all the way back down, and we do not bounce around about this level, 3,980 points, which is where we are right now, I would like to see this basically, it would become the line in the sand, around about 3,900 points, because if we do not bounce here, then we go and print new lows. This would be just yet another lower high, and then we would print a lower low. Okay, so I hope that makes it clear, right? So the line in the sand really is here for a pullback, right? And now what we're seeing is, are we going to get stumped here and continue printing lower highs, or are we actually going to break market structure and then come all the way back down here to perhaps for a bounce, right? A break in market structure would be very, very bullish, of course, right? But, you know, it's not the be-all and end-all. The confirmation of that really would be the bounce then here by printing a higher low. Okay, so you can see here basically when we dumped, we printed a high, came back down, and then we kind of took out that high. We printed a higher high there, and it trapped everybody and came back lower. So you just have to be careful with this. But, you know, that's essentially what we're looking for here. We're actually looking for either a break in market structure and going to the 2022 VWAP at 4,270 points, 4,300 points, something like that, which is basically where this low volume node is. Or we're going to get stumped right here, right? And we're not going to get all the way up to there. So essentially what we're looking is acceptance inside of this volume cluster, right? Acceptance inside of here means we go all the way to the top. If we cannot get accepted, if we get rejected there, that means we're going to test this lower boundary here, which we are kind of already doing for this cluster here, right? And then we really have to bounce here, right? Right about where this point of control is, where this high volume node is. If we do not bounce here, then of course we're going to go much lower, and perhaps all the way to 3,600 points, and maybe even lower to 3,200 points, okay? Nothing's changed in terms of the macro, right? Russia is still very much kind of the public enemy number one. Inflation is still very high. Food prices and energy prices are kind of like a 40-year high. So nothing really changed on a macro geopolitical stage that is signaling the end of a bear market. But like I said, the chart tells you everything you need to know. And of course, if we break that market structure there, then that's a good indicative that perhaps that pullback will be definitely a good long position, right? On the daily chart, you can see here, it's the same chart, right? We're still looking at the S&P. You can see that we're very close to this low volume area here, all right? And if we can break above that 4,100 points, that would be the quarterly VWAP, the previous quarterly VWAP, okay? And then obviously breaking above this would be very, very bullish, and we would definitely be looking at perhaps going all the way to 4,300 points, where this high volume cluster here starts, right? So basically at the previous quarterly high there. We'll have to wait and see if that happens or not, okay? Of course, the other thing that I wanted to point out, and this is why I'm pulling you the daily chart, is that this is very similar to what we see on Bitcoin all the time, right? So let me just take the VWAP off, right? I just want you to pay close attention. Here's a high, right? It's previous resistance. What does the price do? Goes above it, takes out all of the stops that are gathering up here somewhere. Oh, do apologize for that, my phone. Takes up the highs and then dumps lower, right? And then there's a little retrace, comes back low again. It printed a top here. What does it do? Comes and takes out the stops on that high and comes all the way back down again, right? So here a little bit of consolidation, goes lower, prints a top here, resistance, right? What does the market do? Goes up there, takes out all of those stops, gets back lower, right? So here we are again, printed a top, it's resistance, and now we are above that resistance. Is this going to be literally a deviation like we've seen here, right? Deviation above here. Take all these brush marks again off, right? These are essentially deviations. Deviation above and then dump, right? There's a top, deviation above and then dump. So is this going to be the same thing? There's the top resistance there, right? Do we deviate above and dump again? It's possible, right? The first signal of that is basically falling below this point here, 3,900 points. Hence why I'm saying that even if we test higher here, essentially the line in the sand will be 3,900 points here, because if we get below that, then that means that this was merely a deviation. Whatever happens up here was merely a deviation, and we're going to go print new lows. Of course, we don't have to do that. We could actually just come all the way up here, all the way down here to 3,900 points, and then rally. So, you know, we'll just have to wait to see. But essentially what we want to see is a break of these highs, or all the way to 4,300 points here, which is basically what I was showing you on the weekly chart, okay? So that's the S&P for now. On the lower time frames, there's not really much to be said other than the fact that we're kind of like, we're nowhere near, you know, 4,100 points there. We're getting close actually to the previous month's value area high, right? And if you look at this on the other charts here on the weekly, it's very close to that low volume area here and to the value area low of the yearly, okay? Of course, it's also very close, and it's exactly at, so the value area high of the monthly is exactly where the previous quarterly VWAP closed, right? If that makes any sense. Do you see this line here? It's basically the same line that I've just highlighted here, right? So if you don't believe me, I'll take it off, draw it again, right? So let me just draw here on the quarterly on the top right hand corner, and now you can see it down below here, okay? So, you know, levels of confluence around about 4,100 points, and that's basically the line in the sand, if you like. If we break above that, then we've broken market structure, we're above this high, and we could potentially be going a lot higher. So we'll just have to wait to see. These are the signs that I'm looking for levels of confluence, okay? To the downside, of course, like I said, 3,900 points, which is round about if you look here on the lower time frames, it's around about where the previous month's quarterly monthly VWAP closed, right? So you can see that this was previous resistance here, resistance, resistance, resistance. We've broken above it, so it wants to hold as support. If it doesn't hold as support, then I'm afraid we're going to go much lower. Okay, so that's basically it for the S&P, and of course it's still very correlated with Bitcoin. So regarding Bitcoin, let's start here with the daily chart. And in fact, I'm going to do this on Coinbase for a very simple reason. These VWAPs are very, very accurate. Okay, now we're getting very close to this value area low of the 2022 VWAP. Right, so this is the value area low, and we're getting really, really close to that now. So we're definitely at resistance here, around about 25k, $24,800. Okay, so we've already broken market structure here. Okay, so there was a previous high here, right? This was a previous level of resistance. We stumbled here for a little while. We broke above it, came back down, confirmed it as support, and we went higher. Right? However, this is nothing new, and just like I showed you on the S&P, I'm going to show you on here as well. Take the VWAPs off. You can see very much the same thing happening here, right? So there was a high, swept the highs, went lower. Okay? So here, printed a top here, came back, went to resistance, resistance. So there's your resistance level there. Right, which is a previous level of support here. What does the market do? Comes up, deviates above, and then dumps. Right, this just happens repeatedly. Here, for example, we had a massive dump, printed a high, continued lower like this. Right, so this was resistance. What does the market do? Tests it twice, sweeps the highs, and then dumps. Right, so we could be doing that just now. Although you can see here that we kind of tested that, confirmed that as support. So essentially, what we don't want to be going below, much below $22,500, $22,000, okay? Because otherwise, that proves that this little pump that we've had here, above these, it's not changing market structure above these highs here, was not a change in market structure, but indeed is just a deviation. So essentially, what we want to see is, even if we come all the way to $22,000, $21,800, we want to see continuation to the upside. Very much like the same scenario that I'm looking on the S&P, right? So if we somehow get below 21,800 and we cannot get back above it, then that's a short position and we're going to go much lower. All right, so I hope that makes sense to you guys. All right, this is going to make more sense on the 4-hour chart. I'll show you that in just a second, but I was just illustrating how these highs get taken out before a dump, right? So you know, this could be exactly what's happening here, that this whole thing, all this price action here, could just be a deviation of the highs, and then we're going to go much lower, right? So I just want you to pay attention, because everybody thinks that we're going to fucking all-time highs here, right? So I'm not trying to be a bear or a bull. I'm just trying to make you guys see level to level, and trying to make you guys see what's happened before and what could potentially happen, all the different scenarios, right? So again, this level here is very important, right about $25,000. $24,800. This is a really key level, and if we can break above that, then we're almost certainly going to test 28,500, which is a level that I've been looking for a significant level of resistance. And of course, if we break above that, then we've got the yearly VWAP at $33,000. But we're not going to think about that just yet. We're trading level to level. Okay, so at the moment you've got these two levels: $21,800, $22,000, right? And you've got 28,500, and the crux of it, basically the line in the inflection point, if you like, is this level here around about 25k, right? Break above that and we've got a very good chance to going all the way up here. If we break above this, that's where we're going, right? If we cannot break above this, then we're coming all the way down here to 22k, and then here we'll have to decide, do we go long? Is it going to bounce here, right, and do something like this? Or will it fall back inside it? And of course, if it falls back inside it, we're going lower, and we'll be taking out these previous all-time lows, these previous lows here, which are poor lows. All right. So I hope that makes it clear. I'm trying to be as clear as possible here on Bitcoin. So that's on the higher time frames on the daily chart, right? And you can see that on the weekly chart as well. I can show you that on the weekly chart actually, that we kind of bounced here on this previous, the 2020 value area high, right? So that's a rejection that we got there. So now we will see what happens if we get a rejection here at the 2022 or the current year's value area low. So this is bullish that we've gotten this, and then we could not close below that, right? But that's a poor low, and I'm not convinced that we've kind of like, we're done with that. I could be completely wrong, of course, but we just, you know, we'll just have to wait and see. So those are the levels that we want to look for, and we want to look at round about this level here, right? And that's basically where we're at right now. Break above this, we're going to here, above the midline, right? If we cannot break above this, we're going to here, and then here we'll have to observe what the price does. Is it bounce time? I'll definitely be interested in going long, but if we do not bounce here, then we're going to go much lower, and we're going to take out these previous lows, okay? Potentially all the way to 12k, or maybe even a little bit sort of higher, around about 15k, 14k. All right, so that's basically how we're seeing it on the higher time frames. On the lower time frames here, you can see that on the quarterly, this is the 12-hour chart, and this is the quarterly VWAP in yellow, right? We've accepted above, we're above the developing quarterly VWAP, which is basically the same as the monthly because it's still the first month of the quarter, but we were accepted back inside the previous quarter's value area low, right? So, you know, that's significant, but I would have liked to have seen these lows get swept a little bit better, right? And what I mean by that is basically here on the 4-hour chart, like I was saying I would show you, you can see that basically this previous month's monthly VWAP close, we deviated above, and then we closed below it. Okay, so this was resistance. Of course, it's resistance, and we came all the way back down to the developing month's VWAP value area high even, right? And we tapped it perfectly, and then we rallied. Now, what I would have liked to see, this is a swing low. I would have liked to see is this swing low get taken, right? So maybe do something like this, come all the way up here, and then all the pending liquidity underneath here. So everybody that went long there will have their stops here. So I would have liked to have seen price take out all of these stops before the rally, but we didn't do that. We didn't come to 22k or 21,800. Okay, so it might just be a case of, like, you know, market doesn't give a fuck what I want, of course, and it might just be a case that it leaves us behind, and this is basically breaking above resistance, and we continue higher. And if that's the case, so be it, right? But I'm definitely short at these highs here, around about $23,700. Okay, 23,800. Now, of course, if we break out from here, then I'm looking at this level here, 27,500, 28,500, which is basically where the previous months. So it's actually the month of May. So the May value area low and the June value area high. You can see how very close they are, right about this area here, and it's also very close to the edge of this high volume cluster. So that's basically the levels that I'm looking at, somewhere between 27,500 and 28,500 for a potential short. Okay, but of course, if there's strength here, and I can see that this is actually going to rally, I'm quite happy to shift my bias from short positions and going into a long, and this could completely rip all the way up there, right? Because there's hardly any volume. Like I've been saying, there's a void in volume there. So the price will travel very, very quickly, just like it did here, right? All the way up to this level here, right? So if I look at this on the, so let me just delete that a second. If I look at this on the 30-minute chart here with the weekly VWAPs, you can see basically this is basically when we tested that previous month VWAP here. We got rejected, came all the way back down to the weekly VWAPs. We took out this this daily VWAP close. We come all the way to the weekly VWAP. Once we reclaimed the weekly VWAP here, we didn't come and test this value area low, which is basically what I was looking for. I wanted, when Bitcoin accepted back inside the weekly value, came and tested this value area high, and we got rejected there. Right, you can see that clearly there, right? You can see the market come all the way back down here, come all the way to the top of the weekly value, and then there's a wick. So that was a short position, right? We'd take profit at the weekly VWAP, but ultimately we're having this as a target, the value area low. Of course, it didn't do that. It bounced here. It threatened to go down, but of course it went back up and it reclaimed the weekly VWAP, and then we've just been trending ever since, right? So again, it reclaimed it here again. So it basically tapped it, confirmed it as support, and here we are at the top. But now we've just been, we kind of tested above it again, and it looks like we've just been accepted back inside that value area high, sorry, of the weekly. So we bounced here on the daily VWAP, but unless we break above this, right, 23,800 or whatever, then I'm not convinced, and I think we're going to go and test this level here and this level here at 22k. All right, so everybody's way too bullish at the moment. I don't think, I mean, I could be wrong, of course, right? But I don't think that, looking at the 4-hour chart, I don't think that everybody that went long here, here, and here, and here, and here is going to get away with all those without a flash, you know, without a flash dump, right? So I just think that we're due a little pullback, right? So I'm not sure if all these will get taken, because like I said, we did come all the way up here and then we bounced on the value area high of this monthly, right? And then we had another big pullback here, right? But I just think that, you know, there's just a possibility that we go all the way back down to 19,600. That's what I'm looking for, really. But I could be wrong, of course, right? So I want to look really at 22k here. I want to see this hold as support, okay? If this doesn't hold as support, 28,000, 21,800, 22,000, if it doesn't hold as support, then we're definitely going to go all the way down here, right? So I'm already short at these highs. We'll have to wait and see what happens here. Here, I'm quite happy to get out of my short and go long, because like I said, we could bounce there. But if it doesn't bounce there, I'm quite happy to hold my short and go all the way to 19,600, maybe even lower. Okay, so that's basically how I'm seeing this. If we look at this on the 4-hour chart, on if I look at this on Bybit, Bybit chart is even more accurate. You can see how, look at where the price stalled. That's basically the VWAP close, the monthly VWAP close that was untapped, right? And it's a perfect tap of that. Okay, like perfectly, almost to the dollar, right? So here we are now. We've retested the highs here. If we put a Fibonacci retracement tool here from this swing high to this swing low, where does the price test? It tests. It retraces all the way back to the golden pocket. Okay, so you know, so that's the perfect entry for a short. That's basically where I've entered short, because I missed that first one. So I'm short here, and I'm looking really to take profit at round about, I'll take profit here and round about here, $22,000. All right, and I want to see the price bounce there. Again, you know, if you look at this objectively, we were ranging here for ages, right? This is a previous level of resistance, like I showed you on the higher time frames, right? We've broken above it. We came back, we tested this as support, and now we're on our way up. So this could be, I could have missed my opportunity here to go long, and this might go all the way up to the highs, of course, right? But if this falls, comes all the way back down here and falls inside of this range, then I'm pretty sure that's 22k, 21,800 will be a great entry for a short, and we're going to go much lower. All right, so basically, like I'm saying, is this just going to be a deviation of these previous highs, like we've seen so many times before, right? So this was the highs, we deviated above here, and then we dumped. So is this going to be the same thing, where we're just deviating above the highs and we go lower? Or is this a genuine pump, and actually this level here, this was the entry for the long, and we're going to go much higher? This is, you know, we'll have to wait and see, right? So again, I'm short at these levels. I'm looking at this as resistance here, right? And I'm happy to take a short and be wrong, okay? I will take the majority of my profits around about here, 22k, and perhaps consider even going long, okay? If we get here, this is a line in the sand, if you like, 22k, wants to hold as support as we could be potentially going all the way to 28,500, around about the previous month's value area high here, if we bounce at 22k. If we do not bounce at 22k and we get acceptance below 22k or 21,800, like I'm looking here, and it starts rolling over, then again, like I'm saying, this pool low is basically the target, but I'll be targeting the bottom of the range at like around about $19,000, okay? Maybe even 19,600, round about where this low volume area is, okay? So that's basically it. I'm basically just waiting patiently now, and just like I said, I've entered a short here, right? So I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at this level here, 22k, waiting patiently for it to see what happens there, okay? Do I flip long and go full bull mode? Because I mean, in terms of higher time frames, we kind of broke a few levels here, right? We broke a weekly consolidation here, right? So if I put the weekly levels back on, I've already changed it here. So this is a previous weekly level here, and we smashed straight above that, right? Like I said to you guys last week, we were looking at this big wick to the upside. It's like, oh well, I know where next week's going to go. Next week's going to go up, because this is huge. This is really, really bullish. We came all the way back down to 19,200, and we closed the week, we're all the way up here. So it's only natural that we're going to go up like this, right? But so now we'll have to wait and see what happens. If we can close above this previous wick here, you know, like I said, we've broken a few, like, you know, structurally here on the weekly, we broke above that weekly. That's huge, right? So, you know, yeah, of course it's very, very bullish, but you know, we've not broken market structure as such, okay? This is a previous high. Until we actually break above this previous high here, nothing really has changed in terms of market structure, and we could just be printing a bear market rally, right? That's the high, that's the previous high, lower high again, and this, even if we go all the way up to $29,000, $30,000, that could still be a lower high, right? We could be doing something like this. So just keep focused and keep in mind, right? Of course, this is a huge trade from $20,000 to $30,000. It's amazing. It's an amazing trade, of course, but it could just be, there's no change in market structure as such, unless we break above 32k. All right, so at least not on the higher time frames. So that is it for Bitcoin on the candlesticks. Let's have a quick look at Exocharts and see if we can spot anything significant here. So we start, actually, let's start with the volume profile, and we start here on the daily. I'm just going to reset that. Now, weirdly, we've left here on the daily, we've left a naked point of control here around about $23,800, and it's not been taken yet. Okay, we got very, very close to it, but I think that got front run. I mean, how close does that get? I think we got to $23,763. So we got like $37 away from that point of control, and we did not take it. So that's a front run, basically. But in terms of anomalies, let me just take this VWAP thing off. Right, in terms of anomalies, like I said, we've got a naked point of control all the way down here, 19,750. Okay, that's sticking out like a sore thumb, right? But we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. So that's on the daily. If I look at it on the weekly volume profile, you can see that we've got that naked point of control here, $19,750, and we've got some below as well, around about 15,885, and we've got another one all the way up here at $30,000. Okay, $30,067 to be more precise. We'll just have to wait and see if that actually pans out, and if we actually go and take that. I think we should focus more on the sort of the lower time frames and just trade level to level rather than trying to guess. On the daily market profile, you can see basically we had a session VWAP here that had been untapped. So today we kind of rallied up, came back down, tested the previous day point of control. We rallied from there, one time framing all the way up to very close to this naked point of control, and then we kind of lost it, right? So we basically just dumped there, and basically everybody just front run this naked point of control. So now we're kind of like, we got rejected here from the value area high of today, right? And now we'll have to wait and see, do we go all the way back up there, take this naked point of control at 23,790, right? Which is basically this level here. Do we get to take that and then continue lower, or do we actually take that and continue higher? So that's, again, there's still an inflection point there, right? We're right at the inflection point. If anything, you know, we've got a weekly VWAP all the way down here, 22,800, right? And we've got plenty of trapped traders below us, right? And I'll highlight those. So again, just focus on what I said on the market, on the candlestick charts. That's basically what we are looking for, right? But I'm just going to show you here on the market profile how it makes sense as well. So this is the level that I'm shorting here, right? I was looking at that naked point of control. That was my last entry, but essentially I was already taking. I started entering my short and building my short around about this VWAP close, right? So where do I take profits? I'm going to take profits here. This is the weekly VWAP, right? Previous day point of control. Now, if you look closely here, I'm going to looking at this very, very carefully here. I'm going to change the color of this. I'm going to put it as red just for a second. I'm going to put it as a rectangle. You can see that we've got a large negative delta at these levels here. That's around about $22,500. Okay, now those guys are trapped short here, so that's going to cause a little bit of support here, right? So I'll perhaps take a little bit of profit round about here where the weekly VWAP is, perhaps a little bit lower, around about 22,500. We've got a naked point of control here at $22,200, and we've also got negative delta right there. We're basically trapped shorts, right? Now, if we go much below that, like I said, 21,800, like I was saying on the candlestick charts, is basically the level that I'm looking at. 22,000, 21,800 is the level I'm looking at for support. There's a naked point of control here. It's a composite naked point of control as well, because this is a 2-day composite value area, right? A 2-day profile. But you've got loads of trapped shorts here that could definitely cause support. We've got some here as well, but you know, these are much lower here, 21,800. That's basically the range high where previous resistance was, right? And yeah, that's basically the level that I'm looking for a long, right? And to exit my short position here, right? I'll have to wait and see, because like I said, if the price looks like it wants to go lower, then I'll keep my short open, right? And I'll just compound, because basically the price doesn't just go down like this, right? So what it does, it'll come here, I'll take some profit, it'll go higher, I'll add to my short, it'll probably come here, I'll take profit, it'll come all the way up here, test that weekly VWAP, will be resistance, I'll add to my short, and then if it wants to go lower, it goes all the way down here. I probably won't do like that. It'll probably come all the way down here and start consolidating here. It'll probably find support where that trapped guys are, and then I'll have to watch the order flow here, because at these levels I'll either take profit and switch to a long position, or I'll just take profit, wait for the retrace, and then add to my short, and aiming for much lower prices. Okay, so I hope that makes kind of sense, right? So in practice, that's what I would like to do, but of course sometimes things take over and life takes over, and I'm not always there to watch the chart. But that's basically what I'm looking at, these levels here as the last line of defense, right, for the bulls. If we fail that, and this is, like I said, a 2-day profile here merged together, right? And if I put them back together again, you can see that there's a naked point of control there, right about 22,200. If we lose that level there, this area here where those trapped guys are, right, then we start looking at $21,000, and maybe this point of control, the monthly VWAP here in red, this naked point of control here, $19,700, and all of these VWAP closes there got largely untapped, right? So $19,500 as well, right? Which is basically right to the bottom of that range. So if I make this higher again, basically what I've just been saying to you guys is doing something like this, and then here I'll have to watch, right? So basically, like I was saying, it was something like this, like this, take profit, add to my short, come all the way down here, and when it comes all the way down here, then I'll have to observe, right? Right, and again, acceptance below it and reluctance to get back above it again. That's basically me adding to my short here, and I'll be targeting these levels down here, this low volume area here, right about this. But we've got 20,500 here is an important level. We've got $21,000 was basically a previous weekly level as well. So, you know, we've got plenty of support all the way down, but so it really depends. That it probably would be like one of those things that it consolidates, reaches higher, there's something like this, and it gets a little bit more complex, right? But essentially what I'm looking for is acceptance back inside of this volume cluster here, right? So just like any market profile, when you enter that level there and it's accepted back inside of this value area, it will go most of the times it'll go to the other side of the value, right, to confirm balance, to firm up balance. The only thing that can disrupt that is the point of control, which is sitting at around about $20,500, which is an important level. Okay, that's that point of control there. So that's basically it on Bitcoin, right? So we just have to wait and see what happens now. Like I said, I'm already in the short. I'm quite happy to keep on adding to this short, but of course my invalidation would be here. I'll show you here on the footprint. My invalidation is above these guys. So these guys here basically went long, right? And then the candle closed red and left them all trapped there. So my invalidation is basically above that. If we can get above that point of control, around about $23,800, something like that, then I'll be less keen on taking a short position, even if we tap that point of control, because like I said, that naked point of control got front run. Getting above this would be bullish. So this is my invalidation. And you can see here, we've got these guys here got trapped. These guys here got trapped as well, right? We came back lower, and then we SFP'd those levels there, and we rejected a lot quicker, right? So basically, anything above $23,600, $23,700 is bullish, in my personal opinion. Okay, for now I'm short, and that's it for Bitcoin. So let's move on to Ethereum, and I'll look at Ethereum versus USD first. And again, Ethereum had a really good run. So we start here with the daily chart. We're getting very, very close. Like I said, same on Bitcoin here. Wrong. Very close to the value area low of both the 2021 VWAP and the 2022 VWAP here. It's a very large, low volume node here, around about $1,750. Okay, so if I put the balance areas back on, you can see basically there's a low volume area node, but we've kind of accepted inside of this balance here, right? Let's put this on the weekly so it makes a little bit more sense. Right, so basically what we're looking for really is this balance area here, right? This high volume cluster. And you can see that the whole, if you were to take this whole distribution, right, and pick where the point of control is, then it's very clear that it's here. It's very strong resistance around about $1,800. Okay, look at how it's confluent with the value area low of the current year and 2021 VWAP as well. Value area low there. Okay, so $1,800 is very strong resistance. If we break above that, we're definitely going all the way to $2,000. If we can all break above this, then I'm afraid we're going to go all the way back down to around about $1,400 here. Okay, and basically test, go back to this again, basically test this edge here. Okay, $1,400, maybe even as low as $1,300. But you know, the same situation applies here. If we look at this on the weekly chart, sorry, on the 4-hour chart, and I'll look at this different chart here. I've already done this on Coinbase, right? So you can see that Ethereum is running really hot here, right? And we've pretty much almost reached that $1,700, $1,800 level, which is a previous level of consolidation, a previous level of support, which will undoubtedly be resistance, right? So now a pullback on Bitcoin, we're above the previous month's value area high as well. So we're well overextended here. A pullback, a healthy pullback on Ethereum will be coming all the way back down here again. Okay, the previous range high. It might not do that. It might only come to $1,400, right? It might only pull back all the way up to here to $1,400 and then rally, and that's fine. Okay, but this level here is a line in the sand at $1,280. All right, and if the price, like I said, if the price does something like this, comes all the way down here, this is a long position. However, if we get below this level here, so this is a long position, right? If we get down here and then we cannot get back above it again, and $1,280, $1,300 becomes resistance, then you know that that's a short position here, and you'll be targeting first this midpoint here around about $1,150, but ultimately around about $1,000 all the way back down, and potentially even lower. Okay, so again, if you can imagine, like my friend C2M would say, imagine that this range is pretty much, or this volume profile is very much like the TPO, right? So profile like this, right? The value area high, that's the value area low. When the price comes in and accepts inside a value, meaning that it can not get back out of it, it comes inside a value, cannot get back above the value area high, then it will go and test fair value, test the other side of it to firm up balance, right? To confirm that this is indeed the new balance area that we're at. Okay, so this is no different. This is exactly the same principle here, right? This is basically why I'm looking at these volume profiles. The only thing that can disrupt that is, of course, the point of control, and the point of control is round about $1,300 here. Okay, you can see it's this level here, around about $1,250. All right, so if the price comes all the way back here, that's basically the level it wants to bounce at, $1,200, or maybe the value area high here. Okay, potentially you could even do something like this, start printing a little range here, and then sweep the lows before we go higher, right? It would do something like that, but we'll have to wait and see how it pans out. So levels of support right now, really difficult to say, but I'm looking at around about $1,400 here, which is this previous level of resistance here. So $1,400 and round about $1,250, $1,230, something like that. Okay, these are the levels of support. In terms of levels of resistance, like I said, this here is a huge level of resistance, around about $1,700, $1,800. Okay, like I already showed you on the higher time frames. Right, so right about $1,800 there. We'll look at this on the weekly. Becomes very, very prominent there, right? Around about $1,800 there. So, and that's basically it. So, $1,800 as resistance, and of course, if we break above that, let me just delete all of this crap again. Let me just say that we get really, really bullish, right? And we go all the way. Let me just put this back on the Bybit one. If we get really, really bullish and we break above that $1,800 level, then we're looking at $2,000 for the next level of resistance. If we break above that, then we'll be looking at $2,400 here as the next level of resistance, and potentially even $2,800. Okay, basically getting accepted back inside another balance area, which would be this balance area here, right? So basically inside the green rectangle. So we'll just have to wait to see. Essentially what we want to see here is the price come all the way back down here, confirm that this is support, get accepted back inside of this purple rectangle, and go all the way to $2,000. Okay, of course taking profit right about here, $1,800. All right, this is going to be resistance, of course. If, however, we come all the way down here and we cannot hold it as support, then if we get back below and then confirm that this is indeed resistance now, then of course this is an entry for a short and we're going to go much lower. All right, so I hope that kind of simplifies. Let's have a look at Exocharts as well, just see if we find any confluent levels here on Ethereum. And I'm just going to look particularly at the market profile. Let's have a look at the daily volume profile first, actually. Okay, so we've got $2,000 is the next point of control, naked point of control that we've got above us. Okay, but like I said, we are very close to resistance here. Very, very close. $1,650, $1,800. All right, and then we've got some naked points of control. We've got one here at $1,500, and we've got another one all the way down here at around about $1,000, $1,080 and $1,030. All right, but you can see that this here is a previous level of support, and we're getting very close to it now, right? Again, around about that $1,700 level. All right, so in terms of market profile, we looked at the volume profile here. We did leave a few poor lows here, and naked point of control here at $1,200, another one at $1,100. We've got plenty of single prints below us as well, so you know we could potentially go and correct all of this here, but I don't want to overcomplicate things too much. We've left a poor high just above us, so there's potential for us to go higher and take out this naked point of control here. $1,700 is the level of resistance that you're looking for on Ethereum. $1,700, $1,800, something like that, right? Previous level of support here, like I said, right? The naked point of control, it says $1,000 or $2,000 here, a volume-based one, a time-based one at around about 1933. But like I said, we're overextended, so I expect the price to come all the way down here and fill these single prints, and then we have to hold that. $1,200 really wants to hold here, okay? Otherwise, we're going to go much lower. All right, so that's it for Ethereum. I hope that makes it clear as well. So let's just wait and see what happens. So that's Ethereum versus USD. If I look at here on the, let me just take the balance areas off. Look at where we are on the VWAPs as well. Might as well, right? So we're above the quarterly and the monthly. They're basically the same, right? And we have gained acceptance back inside the previous quarter, just like on Bitcoin. Okay, so that we could be potentially targeting much higher prices. However, like I said, we're very close to resistance here. Now, if we look at $1,800, it's the previous month's, it's actually from the months of May, value area low, right? It's very close to that previous level of support here. That has perfect confluence as well. That level there has perfect confluence as well with the value area low here of the developing years VWAP and 2021 VWAP. Okay, so value area low of 2021 and 2022 here, right, which is very close to this value area low of the previous month as well, right? So this is, you know, it's again, it's the edge of a high volume cluster as well. Like I said here, if you look at this here, right, let me just make this a little bit smaller. Just from this previous move, you can see here, edge of a high volume cluster, right? If we put the whole information in, the whole data, you can see massive point of control there, all right? Where basically where the price has been there so many times, tapped it so many times. So yeah, very, very close to resistance. Do not be going long here. I think it's ridiculous. I think you should be long at the bottom, and this is definitely the time to be starting to look at shorts. Anyway, that's it. I'm rambling on, so let's move on to Ethereum versus BTC. Start here with the weekly chart. This is a 3-day chart. Let's put it on the weekly. And just like I said, this here was going to be extremely strong resistance, of course. In fact, I'm going to put this on the daily a second, just so that it's a little bit more granular. So Ethereum's still outperforming Bitcoin without a shadow of a doubt. Look at this candle here. So this is ETH versus BTC on Bitfinex, and you can see that basically that trend line combined with the yearly VWAP, is very strong resistance. We've been rejected there quite a few times already. This trend line goes all the way back down from June, right? So we've got loads of confluence levels here. We've got 2021 value area high, we've got the yearly VWAP, we've got the trend line that goes all the way from June 2021, right? That we lost, and we kind of didn't really confirm it as resistance, although you could say here we did. But this is definitely like the first or the second tap that we've added it, and we've got very strong resistance there, right? So just like I said to you guys, right, this is definitely a level to take profit. Now, levels of support, like I said to you guys on on Monday, we're looking at 64,000 sats, basically this low volume area here. The low volume area means that we would be accepted back inside of this balance area here, right? Bouncing here means we got accepted inside of this, right? Look at how it has confluence with the developing years value area low as well, right? So 63,900 sats, so 64,000 sats, something like that, right? So this level here wants to hold as support. In fact, if we look at this more closely, you can see that we rallied all the way up here, but where did we bounce? Round about 64,500 sats. So I think we got potential to coming all the way down here and consolidate here for a bit and taking a little breather before we decide what we do next. So those are basically the levels that I'm looking for resistance and support. As I've highlighted this before already, like I said on Monday, I did the last technical analysis update, okay? So very strong resistance here. It's resistance until proven otherwise. If we can break above here, of course, and get back above this yearly VWAP and this level of resistance here, around about 70,000 sats, then we'll most likely go all the way to 74,000 sats, where it's the value area high. Value area high of the developing year VWAP, right? So if we can break above that, then I'll be looking at this next level here, which is basically 81,000 sats, right? This level here, which is basically an apex here. Consolidated above for a bit, when we came back, tested it, and then confirmed that this was resistance, and then we dumped, right? So this level here, the edge of this high volume cluster here, this little volume cluster, is basically the next level of resistance. So that's where I'm looking for the next levels of resistance, right? So 74 and 81,000 sats, but of course the most significant one is the current one here, around about 70,000 sats here, right? Levels of support, like I said, I've highlighted here, 64,000, 63,000. Let me just adjust that slightly. It's a low volume node there, right? And then if we lose that one, then of course we'll be looking at 58,000 sats and 53,000 sats as the next levels of support, right? So this one and this one respectively. Okay, so that's ETH versus BTC. If we move on to the altcoins, this is all of the FODL trading pairs, all the DeFi coins that are tradable on the FODL platform. And please don't forget that any technical analysis that I do is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just for education and entertainment purposes only. And of course, I'm only telling you what I would do if I was trading. Okay, I'm not telling you what to do, and I don't recommend that you copy me in any shape or form. Also worth mentioning that all of these altcoins, even though they're kind of like their own entity and their own asset, they're all dictated by the king of altcoins, which is Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin dumps, they will all dump regardless of what your technical analysis or my technical analysis is saying, right? This is why I never tell you if it's going to go up or if it's going to go down. I'm telling you where all the levels are so that you can trade them, right? So just bear in mind that if Bitcoin takes a massive dump here, all of these coins will dump too, with very few exceptions, regardless of what the technical analysis says, right? Even though they look really, really bullish. So with that out of the way, let's move on. I got onto FODL versus USD here on the daily chart. This is FODL versus Tether on OkEx. Okay, so not really much has changed, but it's the only thing that has changed is that there's a change in momentum. We're no longer just going much lower, we're going sideways here. We've not taken any previous levels of resistance, which is a little bit disappointing to see. But if we do take a level of resistance, like I said, this level here is key level. Basically, all of this is kind of a void in volume, and if we break above this level of resistance, then this here is a huge level of resistance here. Okay, and this would be a massive trade going from here to run about here is 135%. Okay, so that's basically why I'm looking for a change in market structure. If we start breaking market structure, perhaps on the 4 hour or on the daily, then I'll be more interested in trading this, and we'll be going higher. But at the moment, it just looks like we're just going sideways. We've lost a little bit of the momentum to the downside, which is good, but we've not broken any levels in terms of market structure. Okay, we want to be breaking above these highs here, right? Which at the moment we haven't. Okay, so if I was to put the volume, I got volume here, I'm gonna have the same problem here. Volume, there we go. Okay, so in terms of accumulation here, we're starting to see there's definitely an accumulation cylinder going on here, right? So you can see this volume cluster here, this distribution, and you can see that people are buying here, right? There's a lot more buys than there are sells, that's for sure. Okay, so this could be actually the best price that you'll buy FODL at. Okay, we're at all-time lows. So, and like I said, it's a massive trade to go even just to this first level of resistance. If we break above that, then it's a ridiculous trade all the way up here, okay, to run about 5-6 cents. All right, so that's why perhaps these guys are buying. So that's on FODL versus USDT. On Tether, let's have a look at FODL versus USDC. That's on sushiswap, and I think it's very much the same scenario here. We're not seeing a massive shift here. In fact, the great majority of it is sells on sushiswap. So that's interesting that OkEx is buying, yet sushiswap is not, right? So, but either way, we've lost a little bit of the momentum to the downside. We're not printing so low anymore. Okay, it's just kind of going sideways. So that's a good thing, and let's hope that we kind of like break above previous level of resistance and we start making constructive price action here. Okay, of course, if we do, it's very much the same scenario as FODL versus USDT. Once we break above this level here of resistance, then the next level of resistance, in fact, it's a lot higher. I know, it is 6 cents all the way up here. Okay, so this is a massive trade. Okay, so even just to the first level of resistance, that's 30%. And that's 200% to that significant level of resistance all the way up here at 6 cents. Okay, so huge potential for FODL here, but we want to see a change in market structure here. We want to see basically starting to print higher highs and higher lows. All right, so that's FODL versus USDC. FODL versus ETH. I'm not seeing any change here, just to be perfectly clear and perfectly honest. There's no change in market structure here. In fact, we're just continuing lower, and this is just because Ethereum looks so damn strong, right? So FODL in comparison doesn't look quite as strong. There is a strong buy there, but the market has kind of come down a lot lower than that, and you can see declining volume here, and not much in the way of buying at all on FODL versus ETH, unsurprisingly, because ETH looks so strong. Okay, but it would have been nice to see this kind of break above the previous level of resistance at least, okay, to go up to the next one. We'll have to wait and see when that happens, but for now it looks like we're kind of like curling, and there's a loss of momentum to the downside. So let's just hope that this is becoming less and less pegged to Bitcoin, not just to the downside but also to the upside. Moving on to the other coins, and I'm just going to chart BNB. Sorry, I'm going to chart altcoins versus USD and versus ETH, because Ethereum has been consistently outperforming Bitcoin. So there's no point of you being trading against Ethereum. Charting against Bitcoin. You want to be charting against Ethereum, which is the best performing asset, right? So let's see how many of these coins actually outperformed Ethereum. There's no point of doing this comparison with Bitcoin because Bitcoin is being outperformed by Ethereum, if that makes sense. So moving on, let's have a look at Binance, BNB USD. And we're still very much like, there's not really much has happened here on the daily chart. We've gone from around about $250, and we've not even reached the level of resistance at $287, okay? So that's going to be considerable resistance here. right? So we've got the value area low here of the developing years VWAP, right? And this here should be support, and this here should be resistance. Therefore, this is the range, okay? $287. Let's say $300 to be a little bit generous here. $300 is basically where that point of control is, but I would say that we'll perhaps get stopped a little bit below that. Okay. Edge of a high volume cluster here. So this is basically resistance, and this is basically support. If we break above that, then I'll be looking at the next level of resistance here and here, around about $330, $350. Okay. If we break below support, then the next level of support is around about $200, $210. Okay. So in fact, we've bounced here on this point of control here. So we could be looking at around about $215 as the next level of support. In fact, I'm going to change that. I'm going to put that around about there. Okay, so that's basically BNB versus USD. On BNB versus ETH, this is a key level. Like I said to you guys, this is a key level here, and now if we lose this one around about 1680, then I think inevitably we're going to go to this one here, right? So let me just delete all of this. Just start again with Binance versus ETH. Right, so the current range, I'll be looking at this here as the next level of resistance, so I'm going to put that as red. Okay. Now I know that there's levels above here. There's the previous year VWAP, value area high, and the value area high of the current year. So previous years and developing years value area high, right? But you can see that there's low volume nodes just below that. Okay, so at the moment 1750 way is resistance, and the level of support is perhaps this one, maybe go as low as this one here. Right, but if you look at this, there's a low volume node here, 1550. Okay, so let me just change this slightly and put it there. Okay, so the range I'm looking for right now is this one. If we break below this one, then we're going to go all the way back down here. If we break above this level of resistance, then we're going to go all the way back up there. So you can argue that there's another range here and another range here. But at the moment, we're inside of this one. Okay, so I hope this kind of makes sense to you guys. All right, so 3 ranges. And if you look at this, I mean, this is the value area high, this is the VWAP, this is the value area low. And we're basically is showing that it's now rotational inside it. So will it bounce on the VWAP, or will it continue lower to the value area low? That's what we want to see, okay? So this is basically overextended now. So that's Binance versus ETH. Let's move on to AAVE USD on the daily. So this here, it should be support. This here should be resistance. Okay, so therefore we'll be trading inside of there. Break above that, this will be the next level of resistance. If we break below that, this is going to be the next level of support. Okay, AAVE versus ETH. I'm going to delete some of these scribbles now. AAVE looking weak versus ETH, of course. So it does look like this level here should be the next level of support. So I'm going to change that to green. I'm going to change this one here to red. This should be resistance. And this one here to red as well. Okay. So right now the range should be this one here, between these two levels. If we break below that one, then we could potentially be going all the way down here. Okay. If we break above this level here, and we could be going all the way up to there. So again, 2 ranges like that. Okay, and we're currently sitting inside of this one here. I hope that makes sense. Compound versus USD. Okay, so we're with compound, it's kind of like a really tight range. We're kind of inside of this volume cluster here, right? So we're basically trading here. But I don't like that. I don't really like that much. Not that the market cares about what I like or not, but I'm going to delete all of these scribbles for a minute. Okay. So at the moment, this is resistance, this is support. So essentially, we could be going, rotating inside of here, but this is compressing, right? This is definitely resistance. This is previous resistance that's holding as support, and there's a low volume area here, right? So we could just be going like this. But eventually we break. Now, will we break to the upside? If we break to the upside, this is the next level of resistance. If we break to the downside, we could potentially find support here, just like we did before, round about here. Right, so we could be find support here, or if we lose that level there, then we're going to go all the way back down to $36. Okay, but compound is basically stuck between $52 and $60. All right, between $50 and $60, something like that. So that's basically it. Support is $50, resistance is $60 until we break to either side. Compound versus ETH, we've lost that very important level. So let's just delete this. Basically, we're just going to trade inside of this one, right? So let me just delete all of this. So we've lost this important level. So this now is here, resistance. And we'll be going to this one. Okay, this is support. This is resistance. It's as simple as that. Break above it, we go to the next level here. Potentially even this one here, right? If we break below, then we're going all the way down here. Okay, but essentially we're trading inside of here, and we'll be doing something like this until we break to either side. So that's compound versus ETH. Moving on to BAT USD. BAT has not moved a single bit. A basic attention token, right? So here we are, basically still exactly at the same price that it was here. This is resistance, this is support. Okay, we're trading inside of this range, the eternal range. There's very low volume above. If we can actually break above this level of 44 cents here, then it'll be very quick to go to 56 cents and maybe even higher to 72 cents. Okay, if we break below this one, then we're looking at 32 cents and potentially even lower, around about 25 cents for support. BAT versus ETH, a lot more activity there, of course. And this level is now resistance. Okay, so it does look like we're on our way to this level here. Right, potentially even this one. Levels of resistance is this one, and if we can break above that, then we're looking at this one here. All right, so for now the range is this here. Although this is a really interesting level here. So let me just rephrase that a little bit. Oh no, okay, it's much more complete. That's just because it's incomplete. All right, so again, this is the range here. All right, if we lose this one level here, we go to this one. If we break above this level here, then we go to this one here. All right, but in the meantime, we just kind of rotate inside of this level here. Moving on to Link versus USD. Link has not hardly budged as well. Okay, on the daily, we're kind of still really between those two levels there. So $7.83 is resistance and $6 is support. Okay, so basically the price is just kind of like just going sideways inside of that level there. Okay, if we look at this on the 4-hour chart, you can see that there's a little bit of wanting to go up, but then the price gets rejected, and so we're still kind of inside of that range, and it's not really changed much at all. Okay, since this whole week, considering how much we've had on Bitcoin and on Ethereum, it's yeah, it's surprising that we've not had a big pump on Chainlink, but there we are. So resistance is $7.83, support is $6.11. Okay, break above that, we go to this level. Break below that, we go to this level. And you can see here as well the declining volume, but the volume's increased here a little bit. Okay, so that's usually a good sign. But however, the price, the volume is still declining there. Okay, so you can see that. All right. So we'll just have to wait and see. But there's definitely an increase here as the price consolidates. That is an accumulation cylinder, ladies and gents. And basically there's a lot of people accumulating here. All right. So that's just for your information. So that's Link versus USD. Moving on to Link ETC, Link versus ETH. All right. So we've lost a crucial level of support here. Okay, so we're basically at support now. And price should bounce here. There's a low volume area. Price should bounce here on Chainlink and go up to this level. If we lose this level here, then we're going to go to the value area low, which is all the way down here. Okay, so we'll just have to wait and see. If that's the case, look something like that. All right, so basically people want to buy when the market is going, like here it came really low, somebody bought, very smart, right? And then the price comes all the way down here. When it starts pumping, everybody wants to buy. Nobody wants to buy when it goes low. Everybody just wants to buy when it's pumping. It's weird psychological phenomena. Okay, so this is basically the range. This is support, this is resistance, and Chainlink is exactly at support. If you do buy this, just remember that the yearly VWAP, which is sitting at around about 5,250 away, is going to be resistance as well. Okay, just like it acted as support and it acted as resistance before. Okay, so in fact, let me just put a little line there. I'm just going to make it a little bit less visible. All right, so that's basically the range that you should be trading. So that's Link versus ETH. Finally, let's move on to Uniswap. Okay, so Uniswap, not really much has changed either. And again, we're just trading inside of this range here, right? This is resistance, this is support. There's the yearly VWAP here, which is for sure going to cause resistance. This is a previous level of support as well, right? Now, this was previous resistance. When we broke above it, confirmed it as support, so this here should be support now. Okay, hence why we've got that range there. Break above it, and I think we go to these levels here. If we break below it, we go to this level here. Uni versus ETH. We could not sustain, and this was just a deviation. So what do we know about deviations? When it enters back into a value area, it will go much lower, right? So at the moment, I'm expecting these prices down here. So let's just delete all of this again. In fact, let me just this is resistance, this here should be support, and therefore we should be trading like this inside of that range. Okay, at the moment the value area high here is holding the price at the moment, so we could bounce here, but this is going to be resistance nonetheless, and ultimately I'll be looking at this level here as a previous level. This is a contention point here, mitigation point if you like. Alright, so if we lose that one, we go to this level here. If we break above that one, we go to this level here. Okay, so that's basically it on Uni versus ETH as well. So with that all out of the way, let's move on back to Bitcoin and see where we are. Not really much has changed here, other than the fact that it came all the way back up, it tested it, and it's coming all the way back down again. So again, we're not really sort of like, I'm not really in a rush to overtrade this anymore. I think I've done enough overtrading. So what I'm looking for in terms of key levels is this level here for a bounce. If we get acceptance below that one, then we'll most definitely go to this one, potentially even to this one here. But this is the significant level of resistance here, and if we can break above that, then we'll go all the way up to here. Okay, so ultimately this level here is a line in the sand, and we want to see the price come down here and then bounce for the bulls. If we falls back inside of here like this, then that's an entry for a short, and it's going to go much lower. All right, it's as simple as that. So I hope this helps you stay on the right side of the trades. And I will wish you a great weekend. I'll have another technical analysis update for you guys on Monday. Until then, enjoy yourselves, trade smart, and yeah, I'll speak to you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.